Oxygen have also played it quite a lot as well. 4 times across the year. Prior to that, it was back at SI, but they've done pretty well on that map overall too, only losing to Oxygen there throughout the year.
That was quite funny to watch. I'm just chuckling to myself.
I'll tell you what annoys me.
I can see Dez's spreadsheet, and he changed the map, and it brought up one result for Astralis, and literally as he finished saying, they played this once, the spreadsheet just instantly updated and brought up more results through.
It's because Google Sheets has to process, and you have this thing in the top right corner.
It was
bar
brilliant.
that fills up to say, hey, I'm still processing, and I just didn't clock it. But hey, stats-based analysis is fun when the stats actually work.
Let's get these operator bands.
I love this. I love the Iana band. Just to quickly jump on this one from Astralis. We've seen Iana a lot. The number of nades that have flown throughout this series. She's been ever present alongside Nook sometimes, alongside Sledge sometimes. I think it's a really clever band coming out from Astralis to take that explosive power away, especially on a map when you think of things like Pixel. You can see shield stats up there, ADSs, bulletproof cameras. Just giving each team less nades is going to make things a little more ropey when it comes to trying to get through this utility. Unsurprisingly then, Astralis is starting off potentially with Sledge and Nook on the same side to make sure you have got those 4 nades in back pocket. Temporarily changed away. You do also have the Ash available there, so maybe saying 2 nades is going to be enough.
OXG going to be heading straight downstairs. I love to see this. We all know that I'm not the biggest fan of the top floor as a site. Tends to be sort of 50-50 at best for the defenders. Reading Kitchen quite often will have superior defensive statistics in terms of success rates. So we're going straight into Kitchen for OXG. The question is, will they hold vertically or not? If they're not going to hold vertically, then you would almost always expect to see somebody playing inside of VIP, trying to hold on to the Christmas tree area, as it's sometimes referred to over at the back of the map there. Thank you very much, Sayana. You know, quite often, yep, you're going to have somebody trying to hold on to that area if they're not going to hold on vertically. If it's vertical, then that's more of a drop back position.
It is indeed. Now, we are very used to seeing 3-floor holds coming out for this site in particular. Attackers have to start up on the top floor, clear everything out, work their way down piece by piece, being mindful of every sneaky possible corner on which a defender could hold, of which there is indeed already one up here on this top floor. Fox8 playing on the Valkyrie, looking to cause a little bit of hot bother. Now, whether or not he finds someone or is chased away by drones a little bit sooner, I imagine we'll find out in the next 30 seconds or so. But what I was going to say is Astralis, if only they knew just how close they really were to getting a freebie. Now they know, and this is where he could be in trouble. Supported out there by the Azami, though, that Kiba barrier perfectly placed to give Fox8 a safe point of retreat.
Great example of why you shoot out barricades rather than knocking them out. They're inside the side. Iconic's just gone in and got a double, and that is going to really mix up the defense of OXG now, because they've got to react, and they've got to react quickly. Shuttle manages to shut down Dream, and that leaves us in a 4 versus 2.
Oh boy, more chaos to start the map off. Just when I was saying, you know what, I'm really looking forward to Cafe. It's more composed, it's more team-based, more execute.
Let's run into
these guys are just like, oh, there's 3 of them off site. Let's just rush straight at site, because we had Foxay and Vert playing on the upstairs, for example. They're the only 2 left alive. So Astralis managed to get in, clear out every single site player, but now being very mindful of what else might be going on with Foxay and Vert having slowly worked their way back downstairs again. Right now, at least, they're still holding on the upstairs, though, and trying to burn through even more time. But Astralis want to play this by the book. It's a 4 versus 2 sure. They've already lost a couple of 4 versus 3s on bank. They do not want to have a repeat of that.
No, absolutely not. Foxay is going to try and work his way back down from the top floor. But Spiff, he's sat there waiting. There's going to be a free bit. There you go. Closes out the round. And that's going to be Astralis taking that first attack, and in real sort of rush fashion, really. Like you say, just taking that opportunity of, you know, there's nobody on site. Let's get in there. Let's get ourselves a couple of kills. Let's overwhelm them. And overwhelmed they were.
They were. Again, really good being a spot coming out from Astralis to identify there was that opportunity. In exactly the same way we commended Dream for this back on border when he saw a fantastic chance to just push straight in towards Bathroom Tellers and get the plant down when no one was on site. Similar story here, so both teams really good at capitalizing on the mistakes of the other and identifying where there was a weakness in the defense and exploiting that. Now we go up towards mining, not normally the go-to priority site for most teams. You'll see them playing between bar and cocktail, reading room, and then also down in kitchen. So this being that off-site that not too many teams go to, interested to see what their take on the defense of it is.
Yeah, I think one of the difficulties sometimes can be the window directly into site. With a lot of the reworks and a lot of the newer maps, Villa's a very good example. I know it's not really new anymore, not by a long chalk, but Villa was one of the first maps that we had where there are no external windows directly into site. There's no external access where you can literally step through a barricade and be stood in sight. And I think, that's something that we started to see a little bit more of. Obviously, Bar and Cocktail does have a couple of windows directly on that east side, but Mining is another example of one where you've got a position where an attacker can stand on that window, and just play directly in there.
Similar to Koi earlier today, we've got OXG rolling out with a big Intel heavy lineup. Got the Valkyrie on side, the Mozzies, the Evil Eyes. They want to see everything that Astralis are doing once they start looking at pushing in towards the sites. And we've already spoken a couple of times about how difficult it can be to deal with those Evil Eyes scattered around, especially when supported by things like Remind Magnets. Only difficulty really for OXG is that they aren't on side this time around. Foxay already looking to dance his way here around Lumber and wait for someone to appear at one of these two windows.
In goes Forest, not messing about on the knock here, and it certainly looks like Astralis are wanting to play this with real speed and aggression, going in, seeking, searching, shut down by Dream as he steps around the corner, gets one, gets two, gets another. It's Noyers actually that gets the third there. Dream with the double on the Alder, and it's all falling apart, but Astralis, they managed to steady the ship there. Somehow, they're keeping the speed, they're keeping the aggression, and they're finding the kills. It's 2 versus 3.
They were walking into a real meat grinder there in pillars as well, one after the other, dropping through and finding themselves taken down. I don't know if it's fully recoverable here. Sure, you've managed to pull something back, okay, I say that. They've managed to pull it down to a 1v2. Can Shuttle do it? We spoke a bit about his entry work on the previous map, not being the best. What a shot! Domes him through the front of the train and is now in a 1 versus 1 against Foxay. I don't know if Foxay has full knowledge of exactly where he is on site here, but he's going to try and make this work. C4 coming in onto the wall, going to pull the trigger off. Off comes Shuttle, but he's looking the wrong way. I think he read it quite sensibly. He assumed he would be pulling that off and rotating around towards the door, but he doubles back and gets the shutdown. Another very close round though. Nice stuff.
Yeah, well played from Foxay there. I like the attempt from Shuttle to get that diffuser down. It's something that I was going to call for. You know that Foxay is off site. You know that he's been up on that top floor because he got a kill from there. But ultimately, just not able to close that out. And it was down to the choice of leaving those walls soft that allowed Foxay to play the Nitro. And at that point, it's 50-50. Shuttle could have chose to look towards that breach. Maybe he gets the kill, maybe he gets the win, but ultimately he thought that he was trying the big brain play of breaching on one side and moving through the door on the other, but Foxay was a step ahead of even that idea and came back on himself to get that final kill. So well played OXG, leaving us 1-1 in the first 2 rounds, and I'm not going to say it yet, Des, but Fresh, this is a square on Fresh's bingo card, that's all I'm going to say.
It's a square that we want to see checked off as well, otherwise we can never finish playing bingo.
Day 1.
Day 1 would be nice.
Day 1 would be amazing.
I'll take that any day though. We love the big full length like series, whether it's a grand final or a best of 3. Take your pick.
It just would not surprise me. It would not surprise me at all for this last map. For it to continue as close as it has so far. 2 teams that are very evenly matched here, and a great matchup. It's been entertaining nonetheless. So we're going to have a reading room defense this time around, reading and dining, and they're going to be holding on to top floor a little bit more so than maybe last time around. There was a couple up there on the top. This time there's 3. They're holding all the way out to New Hatch. Actually, Forest is in a position to potentially pick up, I think it's the Valkyrie. It is the Valkyrie of Fox here, playing underneath, and yes, he strays too far, and Forest slams him down and gets a beautiful opener for Astralis.
Now it's about keeping that advantage though, because I cannot get away from how many times we've seen Astralis, twice on bank as well, lost themselves a numbers advantage. They've been in a 4 versus 3, they've thrown it away, they've managed to hold a 4 versus 2 here already. So things are looking at least better on that front here on Cafe, but now they've got to really push this on towards a potential round win. Nua's almost losing his life, gets swung out, and it's J9O with the final closeout, looking down to about half of his HP, as elsewhere it's Vert bringing down Shuttle.
Nua's really didn't have any business challenging that window after the first spray of damage, but there wasn't really too much of an option for him either. Loses his life, and that leaves us now in a 4 versus 3. OXG able to fight back a little bit at least, but
do they know?
It should be as easy as that for Iconic. He's got the symbol ahead of him. He knows that he's outside.
He's still
needs
scared
to
though.
take the challenge. He certainly doesn't really want to take this challenge on, but it should have been a freebie, and it was. Iconic able to close him out. 4 versus 2.
It's kind of the play that you're not really a massive fan of when you know you're already down. Like, you jumping out that window, you know you are screwed. You know there's very little chance you get back inside the building. You know you're going to lose your life in a 1-for-1. When there's still 2 minutes on the clock and you're already down to 4 versus 3, probably, oh sorry, 5 versus 3, not really the play to make, but still pulls it off, and Astralis will come down to a 4 versus 1. Looks like it's going to be an easy closeout. Dream bringing down 1 more, but still 3 more to go through.
Dream gets away with one there, really. The face just appeared on the upside down rappel, and really, if you're going to be looking in through the white window, you've got to be prepared for the fact that there might actually be somebody stood there. Now, Dream's going to find another with a beautiful kill from above on the shotgun, and showing a real sort of mastery of the site knowledge there, knowing where the players might be, but he's not going to be able to get down to affect this plant in time, and that is now a big problem. 1v2, diffuser down.
Yeah, the problem is with where it is as well. They can get outside the windows, as you've already seen on that upside down rappel. If he wants to get that kill, he has to throw himself out the window and then come back in through the bottom of white stairs. It's just not going to happen. It's an easy swing out for J90 as well. Another closeout here, and things already looking pretty spicy on this map team. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, as you say there, for OXG, you've got to ask a few questions about decisions like going out of the white stairs window. Really, if you're going to do that, you've got to do it on an operator, for example, that's got impact nades, that can just blow out the garage door and get back inside of the map at least quickly. You know, it may not have worked in that circumstance. Iconic was in and around that area anyway, but still, you know, you can't really do it on the Jaeger. The Jaeger's not the one, because it's just going to take you so long to get back inside of the map. Now then, we head into round 4. It's 2-1 to Astralis, and these two are wailing on each other at the minute. OXG, they are going to take us back to reading and dining once again. I feel like, you know, Astralis were pretty much in command of that round, so OXG are going to have to show us something, you know, quite different this time.
They are. And this is what probably makes me a bit nervous as well, is that it's the attacking side for Astralis. Almost took my whole cable out with me there, too.
Don't do that, Des.
Not too far. You won't be able to hear me anymore.
I really panicked at that point.
What do you think I've done?
In one of the moments, you know, where your heart just goes... I didn't know, because I wasn't looking. I was looking at the screen in front of me, and your mic sort of cut out, and I thought you'd, like, disappeared. I didn't know if there was something you could have fallen through.
I just popped out of existence, did I?
No, I mean, like, you'd fallen through. You know, like, you see these videos where somebody's on a bit... We're not on a stage, but where somebody's on a stage and they just disappear off the back of it through a curtain.
Backwards out of it. No,
I thought that you'd done something like leant on the curtain and gone through it.
I just stepped on my cable and was like, oh, that takes my headset with it, I guess.
I mean, that's nowhere near as exciting or funny as you've...
No, it would have been funny if I tripped over it and then fell into something like the black curtain behind us. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
At least I'm not injured. That's the most important part.
That is the most important part.
Right, well, Shuttle's got a really interesting pick coming in along here as well with the Sense. Now, we saw this picked up once earlier on by Koi. Leon brought it in one of their rounds. Didn't really see any impact from it. Here, what I really like about the Sense is the ability to cut off so many long lines of sight based on where you can get these in. Just like this, down towards Lumber is cut off. It gives a nice little safe angle straight the way through, but what I don't think he's aware of is there was a player tucked in towards the left who actually has now dropped away and is still looking for a way to get inside up on the rappel here into the building. Hasn't happened just yet, but on the very least, it's a couple of kills going back either way into a 4 versus 4, Tim.
Dream continuing to have a good game so far. Opening is up there with an entry kill onto Forest, taking the Thinker down, of course losing those universal health boosts as well for the rest of the attackers, so could be a big kill in the grand scheme of things. I'm not really sure what the plan was from Shuttle on the East Rappel. Obviously, you know, he was being challenged, so yeah, I suppose putting the light screens in just does give you the opportunity to force that player out of that position, but, you know, there was no real attempt to get inside of the map behind it. There was, you know, there was nothing else there, so I don't really know how much value there was in that, but Iconic manages to find the kill onto Vertical, manages to get a second as well. Iconic's going well so far. He's had a couple of big moments. Make that 3, and that's going to be Astralis 3-1 up and going well on the attack of Cafe.
That's our 4th ace of the day, Tim. They just keep on stacking up, rolling across so many different teams as well. The thing is, I think the light screens, more than anything else, they were hoping to force players to drop through the hatch and away in the top floor. But the problem is, you saw it towards the end there as well. Vert was back inside a cocktail, re-holding that position even after the light screens had long timed out. So not maybe the best use there, I don't think, but Iconic was just on an absolute tear, destroying them one after the other. Is £300 too? What you're going to do? Absolutely nothing. You'll sit down and take that ace.
Kitchen is going to be the next site. We saw Kitchen back in round 1. It was an Astralis win. They haven't been back since. So OXG's back to the wall a little bit now. This could start to become problematic. You know, if Astralis are able to get another confident win on this site, it leaves them 4-1, and OXG maybe starting to flail a little bit in terms of trying to keep up with Astralis. But there is a real possibility for OXG to then turn it around when they get onto the attack.
I'm looking at the Amaru here and just thinking, not really the operator you want for this map unless you're looking at really quick access to the second or third
Kitchen,
floor.
really. But if you're trying to go for a top floor clear,
exactly. I mean, straight away, he's got the gyro count and he's looking to get into the map nice and quick. So either they've seen something on drones here, or this is a bit of a blind risk for him to make use of this so quickly. It can get you up onto the roof nice and quick as well, as you can see him eyeing up. A quick pause here for drone work as well before choosing exactly where to go, and straight upstairs is going to be the answer. 20 seconds and inside the building.
His drone didn't see the man inside of Reading, I don't think, though. Reading door was barricaded, so I don't know how much knowledge there is of that, and the player has moved through to just monitor white stairs, and if the Amaru tries to come down there, Vertical's got an opportunity to potentially push up those white stairs, and he could well catch him out, but needs to be careful because somebody is now on the upside down rappel. I believe it's Shuttle that's there, just ready to try and cut off anybody who tries to take down Iconic on the Amaru.
Doing a lot of work here, at least through the top floor as well, so it was more that quick entry to clear out the third floor and then start worrying about the second. So as far as that's concerned, job is done. I guess fortunate for Oxygen, they had no one on the top floor. They would have been taken out for free here as Sweater collects his first kill of the entire map and does at least manage to get involved and start doing some work for his team. No sooner have I finished saying that though, and Jano knows also found one back onto Nuas. Himself having a pretty poor game, only sat at 1-5.
This is it, Oxygen not really able to keep these man advantages that they sometimes get. Astralis doing a very good job of, you know, picking up the trades, picking up the kills, and just keeping themselves level and in the fight. Shuttle is going to get himself into the top floor now, decides enough is enough on the white stairs rappel, will move himself away and just look to maybe relocate down onto the bakery side of things.
Absolutely. Well, with this angle being opened up through the floor, it does give you a wonderful view of the double draw on the downstairs and stops the defenders easily rotating back from bar in towards site itself. So those on the outside now have got to be really careful. Sweater with a great bit of flank watch is going to find Iconic, who's looking to get a little bit cheeky, it feels, on the way through. I say flank watch. Mortar's catching him on his way through as he tried to step all the way forwards. Sweater makes a second in the round as well. So Tim, for someone that has had no impact so far, really starting to warm into this round and hopefully going to have a big impact with those 2 kills that he's found.
Yeah, it's been great so far. And it's at a time when OXG really need it. Yeah, absolutely that. You know, this is the round that they need to be winning. Spiff does manage to take down Vertical. 3 versus 3. Kills come in, 2 versus 2. As we see Sweater taken down as well. He got 2 but couldn't get any more. 35 seconds left to go. It's up to Shuttle and Spiff to get themselves inside of sight now. And they're up against Dream, who's been playing particularly well so far here on Cafe. So it's not going to be easy.
Spiff is low as well. Does he know about the man inside of Prep? I don't think he does. A little bit of a loose idea. They know exactly where he's coming from, but the last man out towards Freezer side means they've at least given Conceded some control away. But there's the side-by, drive-by swing that you want, brings down 1. And Spiff now left all alone, has got 15 seconds to work with. Oxygen have just got to play this nice and passive, let him push onto you, play towards the time that you need, and sure enough, there's 1. They get the second as well. Dream with both of those. Oxygen bring things up to 3 and 2.
Really well played from Foxy and Dream there. What they did was Foxy moved into Prep, and then Dream moved into Freezer. Both sort of separate little rooms, plenty of cover, but no way that you can come in from double door side and challenge both at the same time. You are going to get slammed from one side or the other, and it worked out beautifully for them. OXG able to close out round 5. They needed the win there. As I said, they couldn't allow the guarantee of the half advantage going to Astralis, so that was important. Astralis now in a position where they get 1 more bite at the cherry to take the advantage going forward.
I've always loved how you said that.
Bite of the cherry?
Bite of the cherry.
I knew that that's what you'd be picking up.
Because it's the bat part. Bite. Bite.
Sorry.
Yeah, whenever I say to a missus, bite. Because our missus speaks posh. She's Nick, she's not from Cambridge. Like she says, she's from the crap part of Cambridge. But she says like castle and bath and all these fancy words. And I always say to her, say it how I say it castle, say grass, say bath. And she always goes all like Geordie, she's like, castle? And I'm just like, that's not how you say it, it's castle. And she's like, castle?
Well, that's exactly how I feel about you trying to do my accent, Des.
That's not like I'm from Newcastle.
Well, no, not necessarily from Newcastle, but you're certainly not from where I am.
Blackburn. Not Burnley you're from, aren't you?
Good lord.
It all sounds the same. Begins with a B.
It really doesn't.
It's got burn in it.
It really doesn't. So
it does.
So good.
Look at this.
Oh, there we go. So close for Sweater. Really sort of growing into it. After that double kill in the last round, you can see he's just sort of feeling himself. He's like, right, confident, let's go. Let's get these opening kills. And OXG, I like to see that sometimes. Just bring that energy that you need the round. Go out and get it.
I feel for Sweater as well, because I know that he's so desperate to deliver, because replacing a name like Lax in a player that, has been in the game for years now, as we've seen, has had some prolific rounds as well. It was a bit of a questionable choice when he was removed from Oxygen in the first place, but Sweater has somewhat struggled to really fill those shoes, I feel. I want him to have a really good tournament here as well and kind of silence the critics, show what he can deliver and really push Oxygen forward. Iconic's got to be careful here. I was going to say, you go forward too fast, you're walking straight into the back end of your own Flores drone. J90 pulls one down, Iconic losing half his HP as well as he walks through one of those Capcan traps. They've been so pesky today.
They always are. Obviously, we saw the update to the Capcan traps, which really brought them back into, I won't quite say into the meta necessarily, but certainly made them a lot more viable, where you can have more than one on a door or a window. You can stack them up 2, 3, and it can make them quite difficult to play against, quite oppressive at times. It just means that the attackers have got to do a lot more work on the droning, essentially. They've got to make sure that not only are they checking every corner, but they're checking every door frame, every window frame, and making sure that they're aware of everything that's ahead of them.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, another. I thought there for a second that was the Capcan trap going off, but no, it was just a breach in charge. The player ran through a doorway as well. So more fortunate timing, I guess, because no one got hurt by it. I agree with you, though. A lot of it has been really sensible so far in terms of the drone work that's coming through, playing as a team. It's, again, what I was looking forward to coming into this map, to see more composure being put in behind the teams. But Spiff, good start to him for this round as well. I believe that's a couple of kills that he's netted for himself as we march on forwards in a 5 versus 3. Again, should be another big round coming out for Astralis. Now a 5 versus 2.
I would imagine so. It's a matter of time here. Could be on for a flawless as Forrest manages to pick up Foxy, and Ewers manages to get something going with a headshot onto Iconic, but surely his time is numbered. He's cornered here. They know exactly where he is. They're pushing him from multiple angles. The fuser's going to be going down. He has no option but to try and peek. Shut down by J90, and that's going to be the round for Astralis. Finishing in a 4v1. It was certainly confident from them, and that gives them a successful first half. It's the first time that we've had a first half that wasn't 3-3 there.
It's very true. It has been even throughout pretty much the entire game, except for the end of last match with it ending 7-3. But complete halves, yeah, absolutely been 3-3 the whole way through. Now we get to see how Oxygen fare on their attack inside. And I said this earlier on the bans, a lot of information was taken away through the operators that were banned away. We also saw the Iana being taken out of it, which has been such a popular pick throughout the entire thing too. This really is where Astralis, with that the Nomad ban, with the Iana ban coming in, should be able to kind of not so much abuse, but take advantage of a slightly weakened Oxygen here without that Iana coming into the lineup. Thing is, I fully expect Oxygen have got their own plans here. Let's see how they fare.
It's going to be Mining to kick us off, a site that we've already seen a couple of times, but this time it's going to be Astralis heading there to begin with on the defence. Top floor presence is not just going to be marginal, it's going to be heavy, I would call it. We've got castle barricades going up, we've got hatches being reinforced, and they are certainly going to want to keep a hold of Piano. We've got lines of sight opened up to top red through to bar as well, and they look like they're going to be throwing the kitchen sink at the top floor.
Throwing the kitchen sink and then some as well. Big time committal. I love this style of hold as well, normally accompanied by the Aruni laser gates to really lock down this Piano hold with those castle barricades. Remember actually a couple of teams in APAC struggled to break this about a year and a bit ago, not long after Aruni's release, where we had, there was a castle barricade on one of the windows, joined by a laser gate. Then on the double doorway going in towards Cigar Shot, there was another laser gate with another castle barricade. And it just made it really oppressive to get through when you also threw ADSs in the mix. It was horrible. C4 ready out the waiting here as well from Iconic, who's hoping to catch out an unlucky soul, but so far Nuas has avoided that fate.
That's the signal.
Here we go.
The first, but we've got to get a 4D chess going on here. You open one, you wait, there's the second, the Nitro comes out, wrong direction, and there's going to be no joy for Iconic. Nuas manages to take down Spiff as well, so it's a good start to the first attack for OXG. Vertical does take a little bit of damage, but does a lot more as he finds a headshot onto Forrest, and that leaves us now in a 5 versus 3, and it really could be a day for the attackers on Cafe, as Dream manages to take down Iconic. J90 manages to get something going at least, but still a 2 versus 4, and Astralis quickly on the back foot.
what I love is they're not even inside the building, Tim. They've sat on the roof, they've sat around windows. It's just been one of those kind of games, and he's looking completely the wrong way at this point as he gets pushed down onto, but somehow manages to slip away. Jano No on the run here as well, being pincered in by a couple of players from Oxygen on red stairs. Unable to be finished off just yet, but he is down to about 5 HP.
Going to switch over to his pistol as well. Doesn't want to take the risk of reloading and finding himself in a fight that he just cannot win at that point. So there you go. Once he knows everything's calmed down, he takes his chance, reloads the MP5. What? Still can't find the kill though, as Newer steps around and demolishes him on the red stairs. Angle leaving Shuttle with it all to do. 1 versus 4. He knows that there's one up underneath the new hatch. Tries to take the challenge. Manages to find one. That's a beautiful kill onto Newers at the bottom of red stairs. Can he find a second? No! It's Dream that steps up with the trade. And that's going to be OXG taking their first attacking round. It's 4-3 and very little to separate these two teams.
And Astralis straight in with a tactical timeout call as well. Clearly already feeling they found something in that first round that simply wasn't to form the way they wanted it. And truthfully, I think I get it. I mentioned it in the middle of the round, but pretty much every kill that came through in those first 3 was from outside of the map. We saw a little bit of cheekiness from Iconic with the C4 coming out, but outside of that, just getting picked up for free. Probably a few words there about calming down a little bit. Let's breathe here. We haven't got to go hyper-aggressive. Let's chill. Let them start building up their attack, and we can look to backstab or side stab or even front stab as they start moving their way into the map itself, rather than trying to get kills whilst we're at a big disadvantage.
Tactical timeout going to come in for Astralis. They've decided, I think probably the manner of the round more than anything. You know, I don't think this is too much
it was too aggressive.
Yeah, I don't think this is too much about score or anything else. It was the manner of that round and how it was lost. You know, just deciding, look, we need to just take a step here. We need to just have that 30 seconds a minute and just have a chat, make sure, you know, that we've got a focus going forward on exactly how we're going to win these defences, because one more round for OXG and this quickly starts to run away from you. You know, OXG then have got the attacking advantage, 2-0 up, and you start thinking they could well do this and take the majority of the points.
Absolutely. That reminder again, as we are on third map, winner takes 3 points, loser gets 1. If they'd managed to get themselves a 2-0, it would have been 4, with the loser walking away with none. So keep a close eye throughout the next few days. Whether it's a 2-1 or a 2-0 really does start to have a bearing the later we get into this, because those points do start to rack up. Not forgetting a couple of 2-0s, and well, you've basically got as many points as you get from getting 3-2-1. So it's exciting to gives you a real chance and rewards you for being consistent, especially across enemy map picks.
I've said it a million times, and I'll say it a million more. I just love group phases. I absolutely love the chaos of it. I love, particularly when you get to like what will be, you know, the final day or two.
Yeah.
You know, quite often our group stages are 3 days. It's 5 days here at Invitational, which is even better. You know, when we get into day 4, day 5, and we're starting to do the maths, and we're like, right, they're going to go there, they're going to. Yeah. I absolutely love it. I cannot get enough of it.
Although this is not at all me trying to slander best of threes. I love best of threes. It's a really fun format to see teams' true level of performance. I do miss best of 1 groups, because that was peak chaos.
Just chaos, yeah, that's the thing.
Like, you knew you had 2 games that day at random orders. You had no idea what map it was going to be on, and it was just chaos.
I must say I've really enjoyed the best of 3s that we've had as well today.
They've been great series.
Yeah, we've had some great, not just the ones that we've cast. Obviously we watch as much of the other, we can't watch all of them, because obviously this game's going on the other stream while we're on this one. But on particularly the off games, I sit and I watch both streams.
No way.
I watch the M&M game, I watch the Liquid game, and yeah, it's great. I just love taking as much of it in as I can, and we've had some great games, great performances in both directions so far. Some good 2-0s, some good 2-1s. Oh, wow.
That's a spicy 2-1. Cyclops, for those who missed it, we've only just seen it as well. They beat BDS 2-1. That's not expected, because BDS were coming in as a hot favourite.
I said to somebody this morning, we always get upsets on day 1. You know, you can come in with the best predictions in the world for SI, thinking, yep, these teams will do well, these teams will win, and there will always be, after day 1, surprises, and there'll always be things that you've got to rethink, and that is certainly one of them.
That's crazy. I need to go back and watch back some of that game later on for sure, as I really want to see how they've been able to dismantle them. Schalke went 39-21 across the whole series too. Just goes to show how crazy these groups can be. And as this game presses on, because we are indeed still casting this game and not just talking about other ones randomly in a podcast format, it's Iconic as the first one to fall.
It's going to be OXG continuing the push across the top floor. Still not managing to get complete map control up there, so work yet to be done. Just finding themselves stalling out a little bit. You can see still a number of defenders ahead of them there. They're absolutely not going to be giving ground whatsoever. They're continuing to fight here. I like this from Astralis. They've decided that the line in the sand is there on the top floor, and they are not going to be pushed past it. They've still got somebody in freezer. That is a life position, essentially. You're not coming away from that. You're going to have to play it to the end. Somehow dodging that nade. Can he put a couple on ice? That's the question. Sweater manages to get a big double, though, and that's going to open things up for OXG with 30 seconds left to go.
They are absolutely destroying them in this round, and like that, Tim, they'll balance things back out at 4 apiece. It's a flawless round for Oxygen, and even after a timeout coming in for Astralis, it is not enough to stem the bleeding. Yes, it's only a 4-4, but 2 very dominant rounds from Oxygen makes you feel like this one will be going their way.
There's one place that it might be going, Des. We'll see.
Overtime.
Overtime. We'll see.
Going all the way.
We'll see over the next few rounds. But I'm honestly, joking aside, I'm not convinced that we're going to get there. You know, if this continues for much longer, Astralis are really not present in this game at the minute on defence. They're really struggling to get themselves into it. OXG are certainly in the ascendancy here, and this could continue. It wouldn't surprise me for OXG to take another couple of rounds. Astralis really sort of staying away from the popular sites at the minute. You know, back to mining again. It didn't work for them in round 7. We're going to give it another go. But you've got to be careful because you're limited on opportunity to give things a go at this point. You're 4-4, you're map 3. You know, once this map's done, it's done. You've lost your points effectively, so they've got to get this right.
They absolutely have. And I think really when you look how the series has gone, you think about how tight border was as Astralis' map pick that they eventually won 8-6 versus the 7-3 that we had out of Oxygen on Bank, a much more convincing victory. With a map like this one that feels it's the decider, it's more balanced between the two sides, it's not really too surprising that you are seeing Oxygen come out as a slightly stronger team, in my opinion. Whether or not they can finish it out and get it over the actual end goal, get that win, that 7-4, that 7-5, whatever it might be, remains to be seen. But by the looks of it, again, given those last 2 rounds, I do expect to see them have a real flourish towards the end.
Going to have the Lion of Vertical up on the rappel of Piano. So looking to get in and get top floor control OXG here, something that they've done reasonably well so far. Took them a little bit of time last time. It was about 2 minutes 30 had gone in the round by the time that they were confidently in there. But the round win followed very quickly thereafter. There is somebody playing in the pixel spot, and that's going to be something that they need to force away. Just looking to peek around into bathroom as well. Maybe an opportunity for somebody to play onto that window just on white corridor, prevent that movement and just force J9O away. But for the time being, it looks like OXG are going to be playing directly into that position.
It's interesting how it's been a little bit slower because we've had players explode inside the building across the last couple of rounds and make things happen very early on and very quickly at that. Here things have been a little more controlled and composed because it's all about the execute, Tim. I spoke about these two teams and how much they love a plant, and that's exactly what Dream is going for. Plant's going in, C4 from below though. Will it be enough? No! It's Forest on the crossfire to get rid of Dream. Plant stopped for now. All the utility, well not all, but a lot of it has been burnt through. Candelas are gone, smoke's gone, so Oxygen are going to have to win this round real hard and dirty.
Certainly our shuttle manages to lock himself in the corner, gets one, but then shut down by Sweater on the trade, and it is now a 4 versus 3. Still Astralis in the ascendancy within this round, and it may well be just the delayed impact of that tactical timeout. They weren't able to win the round directly following it, but they might just be able to lock this one out. 1 minute left to go. Iconic with vertical angles as well, just preparing, waiting for somebody to show their face at that window, and he'll rip them off the rappel if given half an opportunity. And it feels like OXG maybe just a little bit unsure how best to proceed.
I feel like it's got into a window that they weren't expecting there as well. The other one was the one being watched out by the Valkyrie. In comes the EE1D, steps across onto that goo mine that everyone will have heard, and now they'll know. Razor Bloom's also being triggered as Vert is on the hunt here, trying to find his player on the upstairs. It is J9O all by himself now, locked inside of storage, but do they know that he's got himself in freezer? Because if so, he's dead as a dodo, Tim.
He certainly is, but time is becoming a factor. 25 seconds left to go. They need to get this top floor control, and meanwhile, Forest manages to find Sweater elsewhere, so we now now down to a 3 versus 2. Foxy super low health. Diffuser is not in hand, and this is not looking good for OXG. It could be the first successful defense for Astralis. The return to mining looks like it's going to pay off as Spiff manages to find 1. 6 seconds left to go. It's all up to vertical. He moves around. He gets cut down, and that's going to be the round for Astralis. And this is game on. 5-4 now.
Bit of a sigh of relief as well for Astralis, I imagine, finally getting themselves started in the second half. And just as they maybe feel, okay, cool, now we can start building some momentum. Oxygen kill that dead, calling in their own tactical timeout as they want 45 seconds to address what went wrong there and what they've got to do to get things back on track. Not forgetting, of course, we've got like a couple more rounds then to go back through sites. They've already won and played and won previously, but that would basically guarantee us getting near to overtime as Astralis are only 1 round short. Another defense like that, and they're there.
That will push Oxygen to take the tactical timeout. They pull the trigger on the pause and just see if they can inject a bit of pace back into this attack. They really didn't want that momentum broken. Obviously, from their perspective, it would have been best if they could have just continued rolling throughout that to get themselves locked out and done here on Cafe. But Astralis just showing that successful defense. We're going to have a reading room defense, I think it's going to be, that Astralis will follow up to. So they're going to be playing, you know, very similar style. It's going to be that mid floor. It's going to be the top floor hold. It's going to be a little bit more of the same.
With a Vigil coming along as well. Haven't seen that picked out yet today. I thought we might even see it on Bankers. I think back to a couple of players over in EU. We've seen Benja do it. We've seen, I want to say Merc pulled off a massive 3K on a push out of Logistics on their last SI as well. But nope, here on Cafe, it's Forest bringing out the big guns and seeing what he can do. To be fair, actually, the K1A I don't think has been hit too hard by the recoil changes. I know when I saw the spray pattern, I was like, my God, that gun is dead. But then it was actually quite similar to a lot of others. It's no longer a laser beam, but still a really good gun when you look at how the recoil works. So hopefully, Forest has a big round.
Here we go then. It's going to be reading room, and it's going to be a top floor defense from Astralis. We see a bit of utility now then. Interestingly, what have we got going on down in the basement? We've got somebody down, well, I say basement, it's the ground floor really, down in Bakery and Wedding, just roaming around, and it's going to be Forest on Vigil, as you said, just trying to make himself difficult really. He needs to get out into the map, you know, keep himself off the drones and just force them to come and face check everything. If nothing else, Vigil's primary function is to burn as much time as possible. Just leave the attackers chasing shadows around. If he gets a kill or two along the way, then all the better.
Absolutely. Well, nothing really cheeky being picked off too early on. Still plenty of time for that Vigil to cause some mischief amongst the ranks of the OXG lineup. Looking at that, Flores also coming in for Nuas, just screams they want to be burning through some of the utility that may well impede them on the way there. The only real thing to be concerned about, to be honest with you, is going to be those Banshees and the bulletproof camera from the Aruni. Everything else is sort of whatever and just taken out in the natural flow of the round. Here on this top floor, though, that's where they've dug in, where they've really established themselves, and Oxygen must have read by now that there is some work to do to clear out those players.
Spiff still able to keep his position in Cocktail, just waiting for the push to come from that new hatch side, but there's not going to be anything ahead of him for the time being. OXG certainly no major rush to get in here and start dislodging these defenders. Nua's just having a little peek here and there, just gently, tentatively, just prodding at the defenses to see, you know, what information can be gained. I think, you know, there's maybe a little bit of lack of confidence of exactly what's going on ahead of them. I think we hear a Natro detonate there. Sweater going to take a little bit of damage, but not too much. That's absolutely fine, and it leaves Iconic, of course, with no Nitro in pocket. There comes the first challenge, though. Nua's absolutely deleting Spiff out of the top floor and gets a second onto Shuttle.
Barely touched as well, down to about half HP at this stage, but nothing you're going to cry over too much if you knew as knowing you can land those headshots for free almost every single time. There's still a player chucked in though. I don't think they're even aware that he's here. Jane, I know, in a great spot, finds one, the swing comes in, but they can't complete. What scared the player away that was pushing in from behind them? Because really, that should have been a guaranteed trade coming in, but it simply didn't happen. The flash was enough as Nuas steps in and collects yet another. On course for a 4K here if he can find the last man. Shot.
It's going to be Iconic that manages to take down Sweater. He's going to continue fighting, trying to take back some control of the top floor at least, as many as he can get up there. But he's down to about 15-20 health now, so one bullet is likely to do the job. He really needs to pick his moments to attack. 35 seconds left to go. Nuas has diffuser in hand. Opportunity to put that down on the ground. Hasn't taken it yet, and it's an interesting choice not to get that trigger pulled and get it put down, but Foxy will beat him to the punch. Find that final kill, take Iconic out. And OXG level things up 5-5, and we're at least going to see all 12 of Cafe.
Already a good catch there as well, coming in from a drone just to spot the players in storage. Immediate snap call, and Foxe knew the swing was there and he's ready for the taking. So after their timeout, Oxygen get one back. Both teams have now had their timeout, won the next round, and then kind of been paused after that. Where we go from here is anyone's guess, Tim, because for a couple of rounds, I really thought Oxygen were going to steam on towards a 7-4 win. Suddenly, I'm not so sure. It really could go either way.
Certainly could. Reading room, as you say, it will be once again. Astralis just sort of doubling down and trying to make sure they can get it done this time, but there was just nothing really from them. No teeth up on the top floor. Newers was able to just walk through them and take them down one at a time, and they can't allow that to happen this time around. Spiff found himself sort of stood in no man's land, really, in Cocktail, just waiting for that challenge to be made onto him. He just needs to be a little bit more careful about his positioning this time around. So we've got the Astralis set up nearly complete now as we head towards the action phase, and we're going to have Forest on the pulse. I like that. I do prefer the pulse to the vigil, I will say. I think, you know, that information is very important, especially we've already said, you know, we've lost some information ops. So yeah, it's going to be a good chance for them to just have a bit of a better idea of what OXG are doing.
Yeah, I do like the information game they're playing with the Valkyrie and that in tandem together. We spoke a little bit about some of the information game being taken away, the mirror off the board, the Solace being taken away, the Decay being removed as well. It has been a theme running throughout the bands that we've seen operator-wise across these three maps so far. You see exactly what impact they can have in this realm when you've got those things all on side. Do, of course, also have the IQ on the other side, though, and for good reason, because obviously spotting out those black eye cameras can be quite difficult at times. It's really fun when there's an IQ versus a Solace as one of the two are running around basically doing the same job, and it's a question of who can do the most damage to the other with the information that they collect. IQ quite a niche pick overall, always picked in these kind of situations when there's things like, or maybe more used to be picked when there were things like yokais in the field. These days more specifically isolated towards targeting down the black eyes, but also very valuable for spotting out utility all through the map that needs to be removed.
Nice use of the Rotero drone there, just to take away a lot of that Cocktail utility, which is going to really hamper the top floor hold from Astralis. Vertical looking to go in. He can see the prox alarm, so that's going to be his first target more than likely, because he knows he'll probably be challenged as and when he moves through there. But J9O has actually been forced away from Pixel, so that should just give a little bit of freedom for the IQ to get on in and start taking some control of Piano.
There we go. That's exactly why the IQ is valuable as well. Spotting out these gadgets on the way through, as long as the wee-woos, as Fresh would call them. I mean, proximity alarm's the more official term, but wee-woos is the kind of sound that it would make.
It certainly does make that kind of sound. I think just picking up on the pulse underneath as well there, the IQ, but not able to make any direct impact. It's Newers who has all the impact. Newers will be cut down, though, as Spiff manages to find a trade. Spiff doing a better job than last. I picked up how he was a little bit caught in no man's land, but not this time. Manages to get the kill, gets his revenge, and leaves us now 4 versus 4, just under a minute to go.
You're going to push down. Can Spiff find one here? No, it's a wonderful little crouch around the corner from Vert to bring down Spiff into a 4 versus 3, make it a 4 versus 2. Oxygen collecting momentum here as well. 2 more stand between them and match and series points as they look for those 3 points.
We've got the pulse underneath. Forest just playing for information, but there's not really too much of a direct vertical opportunity for him here. He does have Nitro in hand, but it just depends exactly where that play is made. Iconic's all alone inside of sight. He's trying to fight back. Forest does manage to find a vertical Nitro. Fantastically played, but he now also finds himself 1v3 and cut down by vertical, leaving Oxygen on the map and series point 6-5. They will only get 1 opportunity.
Got to close it out here and now. The last thing you really want to be stepping into is overtime, I feel, just to make those 3 rounds. The difference between 3 points and 1. It does also mean equally for Astralis. They're feeling that pressure now as well. No opportunity for a timeout. You've got to figure it out here and now, boys, as we head down to that ground floor for Kitchen as our final site in regulation.
It's certainly the final in regulation. It could be the final. It could be the final on Cafe. It could not. We may well go to a few extra rounds, but it will all depend on the next 3 minutes and 45 seconds and just exactly how it plays out. Astralis have felt a little bit wobbly overall on the defense for me. You know, so far they have only had 1 defensive win. They need to find a second if they want to take this into overtime and try and take the lion's share of the points. I'm not sure that they can do it. I feel like I favour OXG at the minute. It's still reasonably close. You know, Australis have got it in the locker, I guess. But just given what we've seen so far, OXG seem to have at least most of the answers to these attacks.
Absolutely. I mean, Forest here, I spoke in the last round about not needing an IQ to tackle the Yokais. Exactly what Vert agrees with, steps away from the IQ onto the line instead. Not a big deal because, of course, Yokai is no longer invisible, haven't been now for quite some time, but still being very impactful in the hands of players like Deepak. Here on this side, regardless of who plays it, we've seen, I think, old school Team Empire. Shepard, for example, tucking away some real cheeky ones, hiding them up in the rafters on this side or underneath the serving trays, and just pulling them out in the dying 10 seconds to be able to interrupt plants. Kendra, another player that was also quite prolific at that for quite some time in Europe. We'll see if Forest has a big impact with those, though, as we step through.
We're seeing the contrast of styles here. If you remember the first time that we saw OXG defend Kitchen, I said that you can sometimes play with the players above, or you can play on a horizontal with somebody inside a VIP, and that is very much what is happening from Australis here. Iconic manages to get an opener, but it's going to be traded out fairly quickly, and we're going to see him taken down, leaving us in a 4 versus 4. Forest is still in position in VIP. A little bit of a risky spot for your Echo. It's maybe going to limit his opportunity to be able to use those Yokai drones late in the round, because it's a position that's generally going to be challenged, and just about gets his kill. I was a little bit worried about the timing for Forest there. I thought he was just going to get caught in the animation, but no, manages to take down Foxy, and that is advantage Australis.
It was a great bit of work as well, because the whole time he was going for that jump out, we had Shuttle stood just to his side as well for anyone that might be pushing up from White Corridor, so he was there to be able to capitalise on their would-be aggression onto the jump out. Smart bit of team play coming out of Australis. It didn't have to come into action, but still good seeing them have each other's back like that. Now we're at a spot, in comes one, and Spiff hits a wonderful shot to bring it down to a 2v4 for OXG, and it feels, Tim, like overtime is all but guaranteed unless we see an absolute miracle play coming out of Sweater and Dream.
It certainly seems like it's looming. Dream has played well so far on Cafe. So far 11 and 8, leading the way for his team in kills, so if you want anybody left at this point, it would be Dream. He's hitting his shots, but you can see now Australis have just taken their foot off the gas a little bit. They're sitting back, they're happy to watch their angles. They know there's absolutely no need for them to push this. Sweater is able to recover that diffuser. He's actually going to relocate, maybe push round to Bakery, but you just feel like they're clutching at straws.
Just a little bit, yeah. Whatever they can pull together here would have to be absolutely miraculous. They've still got the Banshee to deal with on this pushing through the door. Now the question is, how aggressive do they get? Spiff, maybe a little bit over for a second as Dream finds one. They've done a good amount of damage, but can they convert it into a kill? Because unless they get rid of Spiff, he's just waiting to capitalise on that Banshee. There's another one waiting on the front door. Banshees might just prove to be the MVP in this round, Tim.
Dream moves away. He's going to rotate to try and support, maybe from Wedding, and that's another freebie.
Oh,
Sweater walks in and gets Spiff. We're in a 2v2, but only 15 seconds left to go. It's Sweater. It's Dream. They need to push in and get inside a site here. Sweater does have the diffuser, so he may have an opportunity to put it down on the ground, but it's all down to whether Dream can cover sufficiently to keep him safe. Now then, they're not in a position to plant just yet. Dream almost finds his man on the spray down. Sweater's planting. Shuttle's got to do something. He comes in, cut down, and somehow Dream manages to find those kills, and that is going to be OXG taking Cafe there and now. A 2 versus 4 Des. Turned around for the win.
Unbelievable. We've seen this happen so many times today as well in favour of OXG. They've been in 4v3s, 4v2s and 3v4s or 2v4s and still come out the winner. So as well, Sweater straight in chat saying, lol, less typing, sit. One of those for him that they'll be absolutely delighted with that victory as well. Again, they take 3 points away from the NA Derby. What a series that's been, Tim.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. As you say, Border started off a little bit chaotic. It was, you know, it was a little bit all over the place. But yeah, we've just gone from strength to strength as those maps have gone on. And then, you know, what a finish inside of 12 rounds. I honestly thought, you know, for all my money that was going into overtime there. I thought that was going to be an extra 3 rounds if ever I saw it. But no, Dream, I mean, I'd said at the time, Dream, if you want anybody on Cafe with the performances that we'd seen, Dream was one of the players that you want left to try and clutch out that situation. Him and Sweater playing it beautifully.
What I love is we've had so many moments there as well across the whole team of OXG that have really shone.
Yep.
Whether it was the ace coming out of Vert